Hey everyone, welcome back. I'm Michael, and we're going to be getting right back into some more Reddit stories. If you enjoy the video, make sure to leave a like and subscribe. Now, without further ado, let's begin. This story was posted by a user named Middle Strawberry in the relationship advice subreddit. The post is titled, "My GF and my best friend are trying to push a threesome on me. I have been dating Sarah for about a year now. We met 3 months before we started dating. I had to convince her to date me as I'm not typically her type. I am quite a small man, 5'2" to be exact, and pretty feminine. She normally goes for more masculine looking guys, but she decided to give me a chance anyway. We have been in a great, loving relationship so far, and I truly don't know why she feels the need to bring this up. A couple of months ago, she started asking me about my thoughts on threesomes and my sexuality. I've never really cared for the idea of threesomes personally, and I am confident in my straight identity. I thought her questions were odd, especially since she didn't seem happy with my answers, but I brushed it off. 4 nights ago, she sat me down and asked for a threesome. I told her I didn't like the idea, but I supposed I could do it if she really wanted. She said she would love to try one and asked if I had someone in mind. I obviously said no, as I had never thought about this kind of thing, and she said she already had someone in mind but didn't want to tell me until she knew he would be on board. I thought this was suspicious, but I let it go. Last night, she was over at my house, which I share with my roommate. Let's call him Sam. We're all university students. Sarah and I were watching a movie together when she went to the bathroom. She was gone for a while, and when she came back, Sam was with her. They sat me down, and Sarah started saying that Sam was the person she had in mind, and Sam was on board. I have known Sam for 3 years. We originally hated each other, but we became friends 2 years ago and roommates for 1.5 years. Sam is the opposite of me, definitely a 10 out of 10 on the attractiveness scale. He is also my best friend, and I definitely don't want to have sex with him. Sam and Sarah sat me down and were very adamant and pushy about the threesome. I told them in no uncertain terms no. They let it go, but they didn't seem happy with my answer. I'm afraid they will bring it up again, and I don't know what to do. I'm also concerned about why Sarah chose him, my best friend, and even more concerned about why Sam agreed, especially since he has always hated her and has tried to get me to leave her multiple times. I don't know why I'm posting here, maybe just to get it off my mind, maybe to ask how I can get them to drop this. I love my girlfriend and my best friend, and I don't want to lose either of them. Update. So against my better judgment and everyone's advice, 2 nights ago I went through with the threesome with my girlfriend Sarah and my best friend Sam. Before we had the threesome, I sat Sarah down as per people's advice and asked her why Sam. She said she thought he would be a safe bet since he's done threesomes before and he's bisexual. Then I asked her if she thought I was gay and maybe that's why she wants this. She said that while I am quite feminine and she originally thought I was gay, she now knows I'm not. But this is an experience she's always wanted to try. I also asked if she would be willing to try a threesome with another woman, and she got pissed, saying she was straight and how could I suggest something that gross? Which I think is incredibly hypocritical of her, but whatever. I didn't want to lose her. I had put so much into this relationship, and I felt pressured by her. I figured that since I loved her so much, I could try this one thing, this one Hail Mary. I figured if this didn't work, then that was us done. Since we had been together this long, I could at least try it. One last effort. It's safe to say the threesome didn't go well, but not for the reasons I thought. 2 nights ago, we did the threesome in Sam's room, and it was actually good. I was surprised and thought it was a good experience and hoped we could move on and forget about it. But Sarah wasn't happy with how the threesome went. Last night, we were lying in bed next to one another at my place. When she brought up the threesome, she said she was unhappy because apparently Sam and I ended up pushing her to the side. I honestly didn't realize, but looking back now, I suppose it wasn't much of a threesome after all. She started yelling at me for being gay and being in love with my best friend. She said things like, "You never were that passionate with me. I've never heard you make those noises." And then the cherry on top, Sam didn't even touch me. I asked her more about that last one, and after some probing, she admitted she had the hots for Sam since she met him, that she felt disappointed that she got with me first and didn't have a chance with him, until her girlfriend suggested asking me for a threesome with Sam, so she could have a chance to fuck away her crush on a non-committal man while not cheating on me, who is stable and reliable. which is just fucking great to hear your girlfriend tell you. I just kind of shut down after she said that, which made her more mad. She ended up storming out of my house and called me the F slur. Sam heard everything and came out of his room as she was leaving. He ended up yelling a "fuck you" as she slammed the door, which was admittedly kind of funny. He asked if I was alright and made me a hot chocolate while I sat on the couch. We ended up talking throughout the night about nothing important, dodging what just happened because I didn't want to talk about it. We ended up cuddling and falling asleep together on the couch, which was weird, but whatever. My girlfriend and I still aren't talking, and for some reason, Sam's been way more touchy than normal lately. I don't know why, but my best guess is pity, which isn't great. I don't know how the situation got to this. First, she wants a threesome with my best friend just to fuck him, practically begs me. Then, when I go through with it for her, she gets pissed that Sam didn't give her the time of day and is mad at me for going along with it. Gyro Bro said, "Hate to break it to you, but they're already banging behind your back." To this, OP said, "I really don't think they would do that, especially Sam. He was a jerk when I first met him, but he's changed now. Also, my family owns the house we stay in. If he fucked my girlfriend, both he and his dog would be out of the home. He can't be that dumb. Plus, he's always hated Sarah. It just doesn't make sense to me." Silsul said, "I'm afraid you might be on the way to losing them either way. I'm not sure I could ever trust them after this. The best scenario is that Sam has feelings for you and your girlfriend is into that. The worst is that Sam and your girlfriend have feelings for each other and they're willing to add you to the mix so that it doesn't count as cheating. In any case, do not, under any circumstances, force yourself to have a threesome to please your partner. If it's something you dislike and your partner truly needs, you would only be delaying the inevitable and hurting yourself in the process. Stand your ground. Let your girlfriend know that she deeply upset you by suggesting a threesome with your best friend, and that she has no business being pushy, especially in the face of such basic and important boundaries. The same goes for Sam. If there's any chance of your relationship surviving this, they need to know in no uncertain terms that they messed up, they hurt you, and that they need to properly apologize and reflect on their behavior so that they don't hurt you this way again. Super Who Lockian said, 100% they are cheating. He isn't your best friend, and she should be your ex. By the way, you shouldn't have to convince someone to date you. The relationship was doomed from the start. This next post was made in the True Off My Chest subreddit by a user named Prior Elderberry. The post is titled, "What are the signs you have married a narcissist? My cousin married a woman more than 10 years ago. They had 7 children together and now he wants to divorce her and is currently planning to marry another woman in another country. He will leave her with their 7 kids and she will have to manage taking care of those children on her own. She is lucky she lives in Canada where she can survive off welfare checks and child benefits. Otherwise, she and her kids would struggle in poverty. I am surprised that this lady allowed a man to control her so much that he left her with nothing. I heard he also used to control her financially. He would only give her $500 every once in a while as a gift, and she would be so happy and would tell all her relatives, 'My husband gave me $500 today and told me to buy anything you want.' And my relative would reply, 'So what? I can make more than that at my job in a few days.' When I first met her 10 years ago, all I remember is her making fun of my weight as a teenager, telling me that I had gained weight when I hadn't. Based on that, I am assuming she may have had some sort of postpartum depression. The reason for this is that she was so skinny when she first came to Canada and showed signs of anorexia. She was scared of gaining weight. Now, my cousin always thinks he is the most intelligent and religious one in the family. He refuses to help people unless he gets something from it. He has a lack of empathy. He is a very controlling person, and I am just glad that I have never needed him for anything, and I hope it stays that way. He sees me as a little girl without a father. I cannot imagine the number of sexist comments he has made about women too. He said that women should not immigrate to Canada because they will not work like men do. He claims women would be too busy having children and raising them to be bothered to work and earn as much as a man would. He only used her to reproduce and now he wants a younger woman. Vertical Perception said, "Why does it matter whether he is or is not a narcissist? At the core, he sounds like an awful person whose behavior is reprehensible. While a diagnosis might help you deal with him, anticipate his reactions and responses, or let you abdicate responsibility by pinning the blame on him, ultimately, whether he is or is not is moot." Finally, being a narcissist is not a binary situation. He may demonstrate several behaviors consistent with narcissism, but it's a matter of degree, not a checklist. This third post was made in the rant subreddit and is titled, "Just wanted to rant about my experience living with my fiance's family." My fiance's mother is a hot mess. Here are some petty moments that have happened within the past 4 months since I moved in with his family. I-25F got engaged to my fiance 28M last year in July. We shared the happy news with everyone close to us, and to my surprise, his mom responded very negatively. As background, my fiance and I are both second-generation Americans. My parents immigrated from the Philippines, while his parents immigrated from Ecuador. I mention this because sometimes there's a language barrier between me and his parents. I learned Spanish to communicate and understand them. I've been told by my professors, family, and friends that I speak and understand Spanish well. Back to his mother's reaction. She told him things along the lines of, "How awful, you're going to ruin your life. What the fuck?" I watched my fiance's face crumble while listening to his mother's reaction over the phone. After the call, I reassured him that his mother's reaction was not normal. I encouraged him to call his dad to share the news as well. Just like any normal person would, he congratulated us and was happy for us. I believe my fiance's mother only reacted negatively because she was caught with another man during her stay in Ecuador, and her marriage broke down around the time we got engaged. This wasn't the first time it happened, and I'm pretty sure it won't be the last. I've always had a bad gut feeling about his mom that I ignored, but I guess I wasn't wrong. After getting engaged, I decided to move in with my fiance and his family so we could save money to get our own place. I moved in about 3 months after he proposed. We live with his 2 younger sisters and both his parents. During my time living with his family, I've watched his mother shamelessly continue to act as the head of the household. She does the bare minimum to maintain the house and is not actually financially responsible for anything other than her share of groceries, which my future father-in-law helps her with as well. On top of that, she picks fights with my future father-in-law in front of everyone in the house. I think it's so unfair to the kids to have to hear that almost every week. Furthermore, she favors her youngest child very openly. My fiance is starting to believe that his mom treats him and his sister differently because their biological dad won't get back together with her. They sleep in different rooms and it's just cohabitation at this point. I tried to build a relationship with her. We would go on walks together when the weather was nice. I had to slow down my pace so she could keep up, as she just continued to huff and puff while talking about herself. She opened up to me about having ovarian cancer. She's cancer-free now. I told her she's really lucky they found it in the early stages. I opened up about my close aunt who recently passed away from cancer. I thought any normal person's response would be, "I'm so sorry to hear that," or "my condolences." Instead, she asked how old my aunt was before she passed and then replied, "Oh, she wasn't that young anyway," and proceeded to talk about herself for the rest of the walk. I watched cancer eat away at my aunt's vitality over 2 years. She was such a fighter for holding on so much longer than the doctors expected. After that interaction, I decided to keep his mother at arm's length. Now, about the favoritism, we'll call his youngest sister Kay and the older one V. Kay is very bratty, disrespectful, and spoiled. I tried to get to know both of them by starting conversations, and Kay will openly say things like, "Are you stupid?" or "Are you retarded?" when I ask her about what she's watching or doing. I've worked with kids of all ages for years, and I can quickly pick up when parenting is an issue. Another time, after a family lunch, Kay said very loudly that she's the favorite child and no one cares about the older ones. None of her parents corrected her. Instead, his mom laughed it off and proclaimed she loves them all equally, even if my fiancé is a pain. I brought up how disrespectful and rude Kay is to their mom. Instead of addressing the problem, she proceeded to boast about Kay's achievements and highlight how, if she's driven to do something, she'll do it. She likes to do lots of hobbies, etc. I can see the pedestal she made for her youngest daughter. On the other hand, when she talks about my fiance or V, she puts them down by saying things like, oh, they don't have much to do because they're lazy. They get it from their dad. They don't like to do anything. I had to interject by saying that they just have different interests and maybe choose not to share those interests with her. V is creative in other ways than K. She's very hands-on and likes to learn, whether it's cooking, working on woodshop projects, or bracelet making. She's also really good at storytelling and retaining information about her interests. I was able to figure this out within the first month of living with his family, but it seems his mother can't. A more recent display of her favoritism was when she yelled at V for not making K a bowl of cereal. She lectured and berated V in front of me and my fiance right after we had cleaned and taken out the trash. I usually don't involve myself in these situations, but this was ridiculous because it was just a bowl of cereal and V was suffering from the stomach flu. My fiance and I backed V up, and the moment my fiance left the room, she told me not to say anything because she can care for her kids. This is the same woman who would leave her kids to go on business trips to Ecuador for months. She always complains about having to cook for them and refuses to give them any sort of medicine when they're not feeling well, only giving them medicine when they've reached peak illness, yet her room is filled with prescriptions and over-the-counter medicine that she uses for herself. When V had the stomach flu, she didn't want to give her any nausea relief medication and instead waited 2 hours to finally give her Tylenol, even though V was in pain and discomfort during that time and had a low-grade fever that ended up peaking. Beyond that, the way she talks to and treats me is condescending. I've tolerated her passive-aggressive attitude and comments toward me because I'm not looking to start drama. My fiancé will step in to keep his mom in check when she does so. I can hold my own, but I choose not to say anything because I know she'll turn it around and make herself the victim. I've worked with countless people like her who act entitled and shamelessly after all their dirty laundry is aired out. Also, after she was caught cheating, she tried to justify it by saying she was the victim. My future father-in-law stopped financially supporting her, but he does help with groceries. He owns the house and covers the mortgage. My fiancé helps him make other payments like electricity and internet. During Christmas, we did our gift exchange and she received a gift from my future father-in-law. My fiance's aunt who came to celebrate said no kiss after that exchange, which showed me she didn't know they had separated. She tried on the gift, which was an XXL bathrobe that fit her well. That night, I got 2 sweaters in a size small. She looked over at me and said, "Oh, too small." I told her, "Nope, it's the right size." Later that night, when my fiancé left my side, she asked me if I had gained weight and said I looked like I did. I've always struggled with my body image, so I learned how to eat right and lift weights to get to where I am now. I was planning on doing a cut to lower my body fat percentage, and those side comments she made about me really pissed me off and motivated me to stay consistent. How are you going to body shame me if you don't at least have a decent figure? Anyway, I used to be really petty and a good shit talker from all those years of competitive gaming in toxic lobbies as a woman. My fiance encourages me to be feral, but I am trying so hard not to be. Every time we talk, she tries to put herself in a better light, and most of the time just tries to brag about herself. It's actually so embarrassing to listen to her say things like, "I had issues with my husband because I went to the gym for hours." I really just wanted to tell her that's not the case. It's because you turn to another man to try and support you when your husband says no to an unnecessary large purchase. She recently wanted him to buy a house, truly just shameless. I now understand why a majority of her side of the family doesn't invite her to parties. She'll lay in her bed watching the parties through social media. Her family went no contact with her a few years ago, but some of them have started to talk to her again. You must be wondering why we continue to stay. We could easily rent until we buy a house. We're both financially stable and have great credit. However, we stay because his mom tries to kick his dad out of his own house, and most importantly, we're worried about V, and we stick around to look out for her. We know that the moment we leave, she's going to bring another man into this house. The best my fiance and I can do is stick around so that she doesn't. I've always wanted younger siblings, and now that I do, I want to be there for them. I don't blame Kay for her actions because I know it's not her fault. My future father-in-law tries to step in to parent, but he is quickly dismissed by his ex-wife, which leads to arguments. I told my fiance that he doesn't need to be a mediator for his family anymore. I told him to be more proactive in his own life, and he decided to go back to school for a degree. We're moving in with my family and starting school together soon. My family adores him and they're happy to help us financially. I'm grateful for my family, and while his parents didn't charge us an unnecessary amount for rent, my parents are charging us no rent so we can build our finances faster. My fiance had a rough childhood, and what he said recently really broke me. He recently had a bad case of the stomach flu. I cared for him and paid attention to his needs. While I was rubbing his back, he said, "Thank you for caring for me. This is the most anyone has ever done for me." I kid you not, all I could think about was his childhood photos, and I kept going. Rabid Raccoon said, "Maybe you two should live on your own instead of with his family. If you can't afford it, don't get married until you're financially stable." To this, OP said, "It's a bit complicated. He was always the mediator whenever his parents fought or when he saw his mom treating his sister unfairly. I moved in with him because I wanted to support him when he was stressed out by everything. Financially, we could rent on our own and be comfortable, but we're planning to buy a house and start a family. So any extra money we can save will help us reach those goals. I just wanted to rant about how crazy his mom is." Thank you so much for making it to the end of the video, and thank you also to partner of the channel, GamerSupps. Use code DLAM to support the channel and get 10% off of your purchase, link in the description. I'm sure many of you like me have a hankering for daily caffeine, so go check them out. Lately, I've been a big fan of Titty Milk and Acid Rain, but they've got dozens of other flavors for y'all to try out. Anyway, thanks again for reaching the end, and I hope you all have an amazing passage of the next 24 hours.